As a new fan of DC, I've been watching a bunch of the animated series for the first time, and even before I saw Teen Titans, I knew I wanted to make a video about it. I just didn't know what I wanted to talk about specifically. But it all became clear rather quickly. It was him. It was always going to be him. I want to talk about Slade Wilson Deathstroke! This isn't my first exposure to the character of Deathstroke. I've also been watching My Adventures with Superman, which features a version of him, and I've read the Teen Titans graphic novels by Cami Garcia and Gabriel Piccolo, but neither of those have really showcased much of him. At the moment in My Adventures with Superman, he's just one of Waller's henchmen, and in the graphic novels, they're still building up to the big climactic moment, so we haven't even seen him in his suit yet. So Teen Titans 2003 was my first real exposure to the Slade Wilson character. And, well, I haven't read the comics with him. But then I read his wiki page, and I didn't know he sucked until after I decided to make this video analyzing his character in the show. Apparently in comics and literally every other adaptation that I haven't seen of him, he's a creep! Which sucks! Because he's so cool in the show. But apparently this is the only place where he's cool, and that makes me very sad. Because I love him. But only here. So today, we're going to disregard everything about Slade Wilson in comics canon, and instead focus on Slade as he's portrayed in Teen Titans 2003, and only Teen Titans 2003. This version of him is the only version I'll make excuses for. I am so disappointed in comic Slade. But not this version, look at him, he's so cool! The design is perfect. It's simple, yet effective. It's got half of the face in shadow, symbolizing that he's literally two-faced. The fact that he's missing an eye is reflecting the fact that he only has one eye hole in the mask. It's so simple! And that's the beauty of it! Comparing it to the only other suit I really know of, Slade in My Adventures with Superman, I definitely prefer the Teen Titans one. Don't get me wrong, I love the take on Slade in the show and how much it fits the vibe they're going for, and the fact that his hair covers one eye to foreshadow him losing it, the way his classic black and orange is incorporated into his outfit, is great. Except, I'm not the biggest fan of the tech suit. I like the concept of the mask looking like a skull, with his moniker being Deathstroke and all, but in execution, I think it overcomplicates the design a little bit, but it's whatever. Teen Titans Slade remains superior. And it's the fact that he's just a dude is what makes him so powerful. Throughout the show, the Titans fight people with superpowers over and over, and the majority of their team has powers too, Robin as the outlier, and the fact that the main villain of the show is just really good at manipulation, hand-to-hand combat, and he's the biggest threat, is such a testament to Slade's abilities. You don't need fancy powers in order to pose a threat. And therein lies the allegories to Batman. The dynamic between Robin and Slade is some of the most compelling storytelling in the show for me. When Robin becomes Slade's apprentice and was forced to fight his friends and couldn't tell them the truth, that was cool! I would honestly watch a whole series of just that. I wish that was an arc that lasted longer because that was awesome. And Slade is such a parallel to Batman. People have been accusing Batman of using the Robins as child soldiers for years, yet that isn't quite accurate as a statement. The kids wanted to fight crime, a way to release pent-up anger and misery that had been inflicted upon them in unfair circumstances. Batman trained them so they actually had a chance in that fight and hoped that under his guidance they could grow to make a difference. Now there are different adaptations of Batman and his Bat-Kids, but this tends to be the explanation. Deathstroke is Batman if he treated his kids as actual child soldiers. When Robin acted as Slade's apprentice, the relationship was extremely militaristic. Slade gave orders, Robin was forced to follow them. And to add further parallel, when Slade mentions that he could be a potential father figure for Robin, and Robin says that he already has one, and bats fly across the screen, I can barely contain myself, Batman is his father, gosh dang it! Slade could never care for Robin like a son. Even as he had Robin in his grasp, he was taunting him. When Slade made Robin rob artifacts for him, Robin was stealing from Wayne Enterprises. Even if Slade didn't know that Batman was Bruce Wayne, the emotional damage of doing the very thing you fought against every day of your life in your father's house is devastating. And when the Titans come to stop Robin and they fought on the roof of that building, everywhere Robin looks, all he can see is his father's name. He even breaks a letter symbolizing that he's no longer living according to Batman's teaching. But Robin's too strong for that. He knows who he is, and this isn't it. So he turns on Deathstroke. And the fact that Robin and Slade are pretty much evenly matched is a testament to both Robin's skill and Batman's training. Slade saw potential in Robin, and also, probably himself in there too. The similarities between Robin and Deathstroke make for such a complex dynamic. They are both skilled fighters with no powers, they both obsess over their projects and their enemies, they both have hubris as their fatal flaw, they're both leaders, they both want control, and that's why Slade scares Robin so much, because Slade is who Robin could be if Robin let himself go enough. And Slade knows that, and uses that to manipulate Robin. In the episode titled Haunted, Robin is fighting Deathstroke all by himself all throughout the episode. Deathstroke talks to him and tries to get under Robin's skin, and Robin is getting beat up. But none of the other Titans can see Deathstroke. He's invisible to them, and their questioning of Robin's obsession with Slade has just consumed him to the point of insanity, especially considering the fact that Slade is supposed to be dead at this point. Turns out, Robin had kept a Deathstroke mask, and the mask had released a gas that caused Robin to see an illusion of Deathstroke, so none of it was real the whole time. Even after death, Slade knows how to make Robin suffer. And it's not just Robin, all the Titans. Slade always knows what to say to make them feel insecure, even when he doesn't know the whole truth, because there are moments where he couldn't possibly. He just knows how to get under their skin. Like in the series finale when Beast Boy was looking for Tara and trying to get her to remember her past, and Slade told him that she doesn't remember because she doesn't want to. What? You don't know that? But it works! And, by the way, what's the deal with Tara? I get Deathstroke wanting Robin as his apprentice due to their similarities, but why Tara? And it's not because he's a creep! He's not a creep in the show, not in that way! There must be a canon reason that isn't freaky. Probably because she was insecure, unsure of herself and her power, and would be easy to manipulate. If he could get her to use her power for his purposes, achieving his goals would be way easier. But what exactly are his goals? Sure, he does bad guy stuff, like trying to take over and bomb the city, but to me that always felt too shallow for him. Every time he fought the Titans, it felt like a test. To me, it didn't feel like he actually wanted to bomb the city, although I don't think he'd care if he succeeded. But what would he gain from that? What was its purpose? This is a man who is thinking 5 steps ahead. Every scheme is actually a different scheme inside of another scheme. He is so beyond bombing people for no reason. This is a man with motives. So why does he do it? To get information on the Titans, to observe them and watch how they work, track their strengths and weaknesses, to give them a challenge. Pop quiz, test your abilities and teamwork to see if you can defuse my invisible bombs, solve the mystery, save the day, and once you complete this challenge, I'll come back with something harder. I don't think he plans to win, because if he does, what will he do? Sit on his throne and be satisfied? No, he needs this. He enjoys this. He doesn't care if he loses, he'll just come back harder next time. Until he can't. Deathstroke dies, burnt to a crisp after being pushed into lava by Tara. Once again, a victim of his own hubris, his own faulty mindset that he has everyone under his control. Except this time, his fatal flaw is literally fatal. But even in death, he can't give up. He makes a deal with the devil to get his life back. And I was unsure of this narrative choice at first. You mean to tell me Deathstroke, Slade Wilson, king of control and superiority complex extraordinaire, willingly gave up his freedom to someone else. Willingly gave up the thing he held the most dear, control. For what? Magic fire powers? The man who prides himself even, in his prowess for hand-to-hand combat is now using fire powers. There had to be more to this. There was some ulterior motive I wasn't seeing yet. And indeed there was. Slade wants his life back. That seems pretty obvious, but it also highlights his selfishness and stubbornness. Slade is willing to make a deal with Trigon to give up his control, temporarily, until he fulfills his end of the bargain so Trigon will restore him to life. Then he could continue his plans. He has an extreme will to live. And hey, if he still gets to beat up and manipulate the Titans while under Trigon's fist, that doesn't seem like too bad of a deal. Slade is a man of his word. I can't think of too many instances where he lies, because sometimes the truth is much more devastating, and Slade knows how to weaponize it. Unfortunately for him, Trigon doesn't have that sort of honor. Trigon cuts off the deal, so Slade has to take matters into his own hands, but he knows he can't do it alone, and there is only one group of people who can help him. His team up with the Titans isn't a reconciliation. It isn't him recognizing the error of his ways or asking for forgiveness. They have a common enemy now, and Slade has always liked his control. He teams up with them for purely selfish reasons, not only to gain his life back, but he continues to manipulate them on this journey. When he and Robin are working together to get through that cave and fight all those monsters, we're reminded of their similarities. Especially in the way they fight. They are in sync, move for move. Even when Robin is fighting with the Teen Titans, there has never been this level of synchronization. It's almost chilling. It makes the viewers think, wow, they really are the same. But then we are reminded why they can never be a true team, and why their previous apprenticeship failed. They may have similar mindsets, but their ideologies are completely different. Deathstroke is weak. He's walking around as a rotting corpse. He's desperate. He mentions bitterly that Robin must be overjoyed to see him in this condition. But Robin replies, I'm here to save Raven, not pity you. And that is the major difference between Robin and Slade. Slade would feel triumphant if Robin was walking around in a decomposing body. In fact, he'd probably find it hilarious. Someone that powerful, that skilled, reduced to nothing more than a shambling sack of bones. It would be counted as a victory. But that's not who Robin is. And as much as Robin has obsessed over Slade's downfall, and as much as he's struggled with that obsession, ultimately, that isn't where his priorities lie. And Robin does not relish in the suffering of other people, whether they're a villain or not. His priority lies with his friends, and making sure that they're safe. Slade doesn't care about anyone. When Robin accuses Slade of making people suffer, he responds with, "It's what I do best." He takes pride in it, and no matter how far Robin falls, he can never sink that low. That doesn't mean that Robin doesn't struggle. Robin's obsession with stopping Slade, and fighting crime in general, has interfered with his life and his friendships on multiple occasions, but most notably in the movie. He and Starfire are having a moment on the rooftop, and it looks like they've finally chosen each other, until Robin gets distracted with an idea on how to stop her Shogun, and suddenly he can't think of anything else. His obsession gets in the way of what he wants, and drives a rift between him and Starfire. Slade also struggles with this obsession, although he wouldn't see it as such. It's less obvious, but anyone that motivated to manipulate and test a bunch of teenagers over and over is definitely stubborn, to say the least. But there is another major difference that sets Slade and Robin apart. Robin, no matter how consumed he is by his mission, will always come back to his friends. Even if it takes some reminding of his priorities, he always comes back to what's important. And Slade would see it as a weakness. I've really enjoyed overanalyzing this show and these characters, and if you have any extra thoughts or suggestions, drop them in the comments. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and goodbye!